Hi Science teachers, welcome to Science Teacher Summer School, Episode 3. I'm Kent Louie, and something you may not know about me is that doing stand-up comedy is on my bucket list. I'd like to get good enough to do a set on late night TV and then retire. Now, let's get to work. We all ask students the same question at the beginning of each year, and that question is, what is science? But what is your answer? Some teachers, myself included, when I started teaching, would say something along the lines of science is a method of exploring and making sense of the world. We've all heard or said that before. But science is not just experimental design, nor is it just the scientific method. If we stop there, then students get the impression that science is experiments and labs. I also want students to know that science is everywhere. It's in our everyday lives. It's in our smartphones. We used to access the internet. It's in the ice cream and the chocolate we eat. It's in the clothes that we wear. So, how do I answer what is science so I can reinforce this notion that science is everywhere in our everyday lives? What I do in my class is I connect science to universal human themes found in our everyday, our history and our stories. For example, conflict is a theme that is talked about a lot in and out of school. We even learn about it in our high school English classes. Quick shout out to Mr. McLeod, my English 8 teacher, who taught me that there's 3 types of conflict: man versus man versus the environment, and man versus himself, right? Anyways, so in my science class, we also say science is conflict. For example, I ask students to name a movie they've seen where 2 groups are trying to accomplish the same thing. And as a result, both groups try to sabotage each other during their conflict. We've all heard of a story like that from the movies. Of course, this story of conflict also exists in science, most notably between Westinghouse and Edison in the alternating current, AC versus DC, direct current, war. I read that Edison's company, who supported the DC, tried to show that their rival's AC was more dangerous to the public by having AC be used to power the first electric chair. The point is that we make science more relevant and applicable when we tie it to universal themes. Suddenly, science is not just in the lab, but in the world around us. 2 other themes I connect science to is that science is change and science is patterns. With regards to patterns, I introduced a theme by playing roulette online with students. I explain the rules, and then I get students to pick numbers to bet on. In this case, let's bet on numbers 4, 17, and 28. Spin the wheel, and let's see what we get. Now, we'll play a few rounds of this, and quite quickly, students will realize that we tend to lose more than we win. And in fact, you will tend to lose more than you actually put in, even if you bet on every number. And surprise, surprise, not a winner this time either. But what would happen if you were able to win more often than you lost? What if you're able to beat the system, beat the wheel? Well, this has happened before. So how do people do it? Quite simply, people were able to recognize patterns in the roulette's wheel and take advantage of these patterns. But why do these patterns even exist? Isn't a roulette's wheel supposed to be random? Well, that's where we start talking about things like friction and wear and tear and other scientific concepts that would help explain this phenomenon. Hence, science is made real. As for the theme that science is change, I like to connect it with how scientific theories are always changing. For example, there was a time where people thought gastric ulcers, which are small holes in the lining of our stomach, were caused by lifestyle factors like stress. If you had a gastric ulcer, treatment at the time would be to make lifestyle changes so you wouldn't be so stressed out. So don't work so much, exercise, take bubble baths or something like that. Now we know that gastric ulcers are actually caused by bacterial infection and can be treated with antibiotics. In a future episode, I'll share a few more of the universal themes I connect science with. But until then, that's all the time we have for this episode. Please leave any questions or comments in the comment section below. Join me next time when I'll be talking about how to correctly show science videos in class. What? There's a correct way to show videos? Yes, I think there is. You don't want to miss it. See you again soon, and remember, to science everywhere, every day.